Hey everybody, this is Nancy Belmont coming at you from Alexandria, Virginia for this week's We Live Big Wednesdays. And today we are going to be talking about receiving. Now, this is something that is a challenge for me, and I know if my mom was watching, I know it's a challenge for her. She always talks about how hard it is to ask for help and receive help. And so maybe it's something that's just built into my family, but I think my family is not alone in being maybe better givers than receivers. And so if that sounds like you, if you sometimes have trouble receiving, you're not alone. I am definitely with you. And so this came to light to me. I was laying in my yoga practice this morning, and at the end of yoga, you lay in Shavasana, which is basically, it's called corpse pose, and you lay there and the instructor says, receive the benefits of your practice. And I started to think about that word receive. And I remembered that yesterday I had lunch with a dear friend of mine who was asking me about my business and how everything was going. And I said, I just feel like I need a little bit more focus. I feel like maybe I need to be driving toward something, but I need some help. And I wasn't asking him for help, but he said, I would love to help you. Why don't you send me whatever you have for a business plan? And it sounds like you have a lot of things going on, so maybe I can take a look from the outside and just see what you have, and maybe I can give you some tips on where to focus or how you might think about this in a different way. And when he said that, I immediately felt like, well, first I felt grateful, and then I felt like, oh, well, I wouldn't want to be a burden to him. Like, I wouldn't want to send him all of my stuff and actually take him up on his offer to help me, because that feels like, I don't know, like it's not something that I'm used to. But I know that I need the help. So, this is what I think we do a lot. We get these offers for help, and then we say, oh, thank you very much. And then we don't follow up on them because we feel guilty or we feel weird about actually asking for help. So if that sounds like you, welcome to the club. But if we're going to live big, if we're going to do bold things in life, chances are we can't do that alone. And we're going to need to ask for help, or at least receive help and be open to help from people outside of ourselves. And so let's have this week's We Live Big Wednesday be a practice in receiving. So whether that receiving is help, whether that receiving comes in some or other fashion, maybe receiving love, maybe receiving credit, let's open ourselves this week to receiving. And so when those little angels pop in and they say, hey, I want to offer you something, then instead of being like, oh, no, I'm okay, I can do it alone, I'm tough, maybe say, wow, that's a wonderful offer, let me receive. When I had my first son, I have 3 children, for those of you who don't know me. My first son, it was a very hard delivery. It was lots and lots of labor, followed by an emergency C-section, and I was exhausted and in a lot of pain afterwards, and the nurse gave me one of the little morphine button push things, and I remember her saying, hey, you need to give yourself this medicine because it will make you feel better. And I was like, no, I can't be weak. I can't need that drug. And so I wouldn't push it, and I wouldn't push it. And finally, my husband came up and he pushed the darn button for me, because I could not open myself up to receiving any kind of relief, any kind of help. I felt like life needed to be hard. The recovery needed to be hard. I could tough it out. I didn't need anybody. I didn't need anything. So, but I'll tell you what, it felt much better when I was able to receive that medicine and I was able to recover and things got a little easier. And so, that's just one example of how stubborn we can be to receiving. I've got a really good friend who I share office space with who sent out a note to a few of us and said, hey, I could really use your help brainstorming. I've got some things coming up in my life and you know me really well. And so I would love it if you could spend some time with me, maybe an hour between now and next Wednesday, and just share your thoughts with me. And I remember thinking, I feel so honored that she would ask for my support. And of course I jumped in and said, yes, let's meet. Here are the times I'm available. Now, it's so funny how we can feel honored to be asked for help, and we can feel just overjoyed at giving help. But when the opposite is true, when somebody's offering us help, it can be so hard to receive it. So that is my challenge to you. Open up to the idea of receiving. Think about where in your life you might need to receive. Maybe it's with some help around the house. Maybe it is receiving credit for some great stuff you've been doing at work, and you always are like, no, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything. Don't worry about it. I don't need credit. Maybe it is for help for your business or your career. Maybe it's for help in figuring out your personal life. Whatever that is, open yourself up to receiving. And if it's really uncomfortable to ask for help, you can practice asking for help for this week's We Live Big Wednesday. Or even better, maybe, just be open to the idea that somebody might be out there who wants to help you and that you can receive from. So that's exactly how things went in my lunch yesterday. I was not intending to ask for help. I offered where I was, and the person across the table from me said, I think I have something to offer you. Please let me support you. And, today my plan is to get him all of the information he needs to start getting to know me and my business and where I want to go a little bit better, so that he can contribute to me and I can receive all of that wonderful wisdom that he has to offer. So that's your challenge for this week's We Live Big Wednesday. Open yourself up to receive. Look for opportunities to receive. And even if you aren't talking to anybody, even if nobody's offering you help, maybe just receive from yourself. Maybe just receive by taking a moment to yourself, maybe having a moment of meditation, maybe a moment of quiet time, maybe a moment of personal pampering, and just receive. And know that you are worthy of receiving. Know that receiving will make you stronger. Receiving will make you a better giver. You don't always have to be a giver. If there is a two-way flow of giving and receiving, that is the balance that we need in our lives. All right, guys, that's it for this week's We Live Big Wednesday. I hope you are having a fantastic summer, and I look forward to seeing you here next week, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, for We Live Big. Bye.